Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a big boy video for you about global warming. The gameplay you're seeing right now is Advanced Warfare because this is a Call of Duty channel, but it's not super relevant with the exception of the fact that there was, climate change in this game and in Black Ops 3 as part of their future scenario, because the futurists that they hired projected that there would be serious environmental damage from global warming. And I will come out and say, and you guys can get mad about this, I personally believe that global warming is a real thing. It's actually happening in the world. And I also believe that a significant portion of it, not 100%, we'll talk about later, is attributable to human beings, human pollution, and human action. I'm sitting in Texas right now, and we're getting the butt end of Hurricane Patricia, which is the largest hurricane ever on record, at the end of the hottest month ever on record, at the end of the hottest year ever on record, at the end of the hottest decade ever on record. And please tell me that some of you can see a pattern here. It's hot, it's really hot, it continues to get hotter, and we've got crazy weather, which sounds a lot like global warming to me, but that's not why I believe in it. I believe that global warming is a real thing, and I'm going to talk about the effects, the impact, how to fix it, all that kind of stuff later, because my opinions on that is far more complex than the fact that it's real or not. The idea isn't really that complex, and it's pretty much this, that the globe, the entire planet, not your country, not your region, not your city, not your hemisphere, none of that, but the entire planet is increasing in temperature ever so slightly year after year, and it's been doing so for about the last 100 years or so, or however long we've had accurate measurements. The ones in the 1800s are a little bit wonkier than the ones since, in the modern, especially like the last 50, 60 years or so. We've had really good data on this. NASA studies this. It's important, but these aren't massive changes. The world isn't super hot. We're not being nuked. We're not baking, but it's a very slow, gradual change. And the changes, when you measure them, are actually relatively small, especially compared to the day-to-day fluctuations of temperature. They're like fractions of a centigrade, which you think about like that's a Celsius, that's maybe like a whole degree Fahrenheit or two, and you're thinking, okay, well that's like basically nothing because the temperature changes a couple degrees Fahrenheit or centigrade all the time outside in like 30 minutes. And yeah, that's kind of true in a way. It's not like jumping 10 degrees, but you have to figure in that it's a big planet and there's lots of global averages. The global average is slowly ticking up, which means that there are places where it's going up more and others where it's, not changing very much. And I kind of like to use the example of the stock market here. When you turn on the news and they're like, oh, the stock market today did blah, 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 blah. And, like a couple of percentage points in change in the stock market is considered a big deal because it's based on average, and it indicates a couple of percentage points change in the whole economy, this massive, complex ecosystem of businesses that nobody can truly understand is moving in a certain direction, and that's how I like to compare to the planet. The changes aren't like, one day we're alive and the next day it's inferno, but it is trending in a direction, and it's something massive and complicated, and like, I could start a million fires and it wouldn't change the temperature of the planet one iota, but something is changing it. Now, different regions have been affected differently. Some have actually gotten colder or cooler. Some have actually gotten a lot hotter. Some have gotten more wet. Some have gotten less wet. Deserts bigger, deserts smaller. But the idea is that they're changing, and we're still getting record cold temperatures on record. I'm not ignorant. I know that. And that's because the weather is growing more extreme in different places. Some places are getting hit worse than others. Some places haven't changed hardly any, and some places are getting a lot. Some places are flooding, and yes, there are also outlier data points. There are some years which, for reasons that I do not understand, are abnormally cool or abnormally hot, or just not how we should predict them. But then you have to bear in mind that weather, as it is something that we struggle to predict. It is complicated. It is giant, like the economy, and we don't have a perfect model for every single thing, so sometimes we do get crazy data points, but the trend remains the same. The trend remains the same, that we are slowly increasing in temperature. Even if next year is like the coldest year on record, that'll be an outlying data point, but the trend, if you graph it, is still the same. It's still increasing, and that's just kind of how it works. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm crazy, if I'm being paid off by the Illuminati or whatever, this part of the video is not complex. If you can use Microsoft Excel, if you can just go online and get these data points and load them up and graph them yourself and run a trend line, you can see exactly what is going on. But now we're hitting the more opinionated and complex part of this video, and that is, what part of this is attributable to human change, what part is our pollution, what part isn't sun cycles, volcanoes, natural changes in our environment and planet, because we know that over the last millions of years our planet has had an ice age, it's had a hot period, a cold period, we find like underwater dinosaur bones on land because that used to be underwater. Why is our planet not just on a cycle? The sun has cycles where it heats up and cools down, and our temperature does adjust accordingly, and that is true. I do think some of that is real. We do have volcanic interactions, we have plant interactions, we have the sun cycle's actually been a little bit hotter lately if I'm not mistaken, but the change has been disproportionate to that. It's been a little bit more than what we would expect based on past data, and I can't say for certain how much is attributable to human beings, and part of that is because human pollution is very complex. Like, we put out more than just carbon dioxide, we put out chemicals that I can't even name, chemicals that would have like 80-letter names that stay in the environment for... I'm from Mississippi, where we used to think DDT was like the best thing ever until we found out it was killing birds and snakes and can give you cancer and all that kind of stuff. Or Agent Orange in Vietnam. They're extremely complex. They're beyond my level of expertise, but I know that can't be a good thing. It can't be good that we're putting this into our environment, and if there are millions of scientists and brilliant people, much smarter than myself, saying it's a bad thing, I feel that I should take it seriously, even if it's infinitely too complex to model, even if we can't get a perfect answer for it. It's something that I should take seriously, and you're going to ask, okay, well, why should you take seriously if you don't understand it? And that's because what we're risking here is extinction or global catastrophe. Extinction, the extinction of the human race, global catastrophe, deaths on a massive scale, and starvation, drought, all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And to be honest, that's scary to me. It should be scary to you. However, we're going to put a brief spin of positivity on here. Most scientific models indicate that the carbon gun hypothesis, runaway climate change, or the thing where the Earth turns to Venus and the methane under the ocean melts and we all get boiled and baked and we die and there's no coming back from it, those are either impossible or extremely unlikely. It's been projected that if we burned every single bit of our fossil fuels in the most reckless of manner, it would not destroy all life on Earth. It would definitely get hotter, things would change, and it would be unhealthy for all of us, and most humans would die, but we wouldn't go extinct. It wouldn't be the end of time, we'd still live, and that's good, you know. It's really good and comforting to know that we're not going to extinct ourselves, probably. Some of these models say it's still possible. It's still, we could totally do this. We could trigger droughts. We actually could turn the planet into Venus, according to some models, maybe, even though the odds are fairly remote. However, the way I see it, even a 0.001% chance of extinction is something that we should take seriously, because it's extinction. It's the most scary thing that you can possibly imagine as a member of the human race, and there is still a real possibility of damage to our environment, to our way of living, to our hospitality, to the only place in the entire universe that we can live or get to. We're kind of screwing it up, and I think that this risk is big enough to sit down like a big boy, to put your serious goggles on, throw your bias aside, and take a look at the issue. And you're like, okay, Drifter, well, if it's so obvious, if the Earth is clearly warming up and it's all going to hell in a handbasket, why aren't we doing anything about it? Why doesn't every single person take this seriously? And there's 3 nonsense answers that I'm going to give you that everybody gives, and then there's a real answer. So the 3 nonsense answers, which do have some truth to them actually, is that big businesses don't like it. Giant mega corporations rely on being able to pollute and have some negative externalities that they don't like to deal with, and it helps their profits. Being green is not cheap. Not polluting is not cheap. It damages industries, not only in the US, but it prevents other countries from growing and modernizing because they have to go through this coal burning phase to even hope to hit clean energy, and that's bad. There are lots of regular, non-super rich blue-collar workers that don't like it because their job requires them to either commute via car and pollute, or even if they work in a factory or a place that pollutes, they don't like it because if we cleaned everything up, they'd be unemployed, they'd be out of a job, nobody likes that. And lastly, politicians like to use this against us. The same thing with abortion, gay marriage, legalizing marijuana, all that kind of stuff. Important to some people, but ultimately not important as the big issues, but it's used to divide people against each other. Now, all 3 of these I think are BS reasons. I don't think they're the main reason. I think the real answer is going to hit you, or just kind of shake you to your core, like maybe not even a ton of bricks, but like a gigaton of bricks. And that's that in order to fix this problem, if global warming is that scary and you really want to do something about it, there's only 2 ways to do this, and I've not been able to do either one. Number one is that there needs to be less humans. We've got 7 point something billion human beings on this planet, and every single human being is a living, breathing pollution machine that screws up the environment, and we need less of them. It's like, I'm not trying to advocate a mass genocide on this channel, but that's really, you look at how we would fix this problem, that's one of the ways to do it. And the other way, which we're not going to do, is we have to give up the majority of our first world luxuries. Air conditioners, cars, electricity. It pollutes to use Google's, to actually just to get on the internet and do things. Watching this video creates pollution, even though it doesn't seem like it, because it burns electricity and servers and all that kind of stuff. Every single thing that we do in the first world, and even largely in the third world, creates some degree of pollution. Almost everything modern, everything nice, everything that we like creates pollution. Hospitals are pollution machines. We would have to cut those and just let people die of relatively treatable diseases in order to reduce the pollution. Simply by existing, you contribute to this problem. Simply by existing, I contribute to this problem. And I have not been able to give up my first world luxuries. Yeah, I drive a relatively clean car. I don't use my air conditioner too much. I recycle, mostly because my wife makes me recycle. I don't think recycling is going to fix anything in the long run. But this doesn't change anything. Simply by existing, I contribute to the problem. But we're biologically programmed to resist these two things. Human beings are social creatures, and we are greedy creatures. Just like every single creature in existence. It's how we train dogs, because they like food so much. We are not we're so genetically or created by God in a way to where we naturally care and love for each other. We're not going to cause a mass genocide. We're not going to cull the population. That's not something we're going to do. And because everybody is also in a strange way out for themselves, or they want to live nice, they want to live comfortably, they want these things, we're not giving up our luxuries. I'm not giving up my air conditioner. I'm not going to give up my car and ride a bicycle anytime soon unless somebody makes me. I'm still going to buy food that's probably not super organic or healthy. And by existing, I contribute to this problem, and I have not found a solution for it because I don't know of anybody that's willing to give up all of their luxuries and go on a genocidal rampage. There needs to be somebody somewhere smarter than me, smarter than almost anybody watching this video most likely, that will come up with a solution to the problem, because again, I do feel that even a small chance of extinction or global catastrophe is warranting of some serious attention, even if the solutions are ugly. We need to find a third way. We need to find a better and more hopeful way to fix the problem. And that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.